Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about a drama film called No Chains, No Masters from 2024. Enjoy your viewing. The movie begins in the blue sea. Someone throws a bound woman into the sea. Her prayer is heard off screen, asking her husband, Masamba, to take care of their daughter. The story moves to 1759 on the island of Île-de-France in the Indian Ocean. There, on a sugarcane plantation, Masamba works among other slaves. He is an interpreter at Eugène Larcenet's plantation, which is why the other slaves dislike him. Masamba teaches his daughter Mati to read and write, but she is obsessed with the idea of escaping from the plantation and becoming free. Her father warns her that this could have terrible consequences. The next day, he witnesses the punishment of the runaways. For the first attempt to escape, the plantation owner only stigmatizes the fugitive. For the second, he loses his ear. Masamba reminds the others that the third escape attempt is punishable by death. At night, Mati has a nervous breakdown, and her father helps her calm down. He believes that she is haunted by a spirit. She also convinces him to lead a rebellion against the owners, but he refuses. When the governor arrives for dinner, Masamba is invited to the master's house. He is thoroughly cleaned of dust before entering. The governor is surprised that the slave knows French and has an unusually broad outlook. He finds out that Larcenet's son Honoré not only taught Masamba to read and write, but also believes that slaves are not just disenfranchised animals, but people like everyone else. These radical views irritate the governor. As he leaves, he reminds the elder Larsen that the plantations belong to him only under a concession agreement, and that France can revoke it if the heir does not abandon his ideas harmful to the economy. After that, Eugène punishes his son with a slap on the wrist and deprives Masamba of all his privileges. He orders that the daughter no longer live with her father, but stay in the household. However, when Mati is taken to a new place, she runs away, hiding in the night thickets. In the morning, Eugène orders the search for the fugitive to continue and sends his son with the group to prove his loyalty to the governor. Honoré agrees, but demands that Mati not be punished if she is returned. However, this leniency does not apply to her father. Masamba is tied to stakes driven into the ground and beaten fiercely with whips. His back turns into something horrible, but even after that he does not give away where his daughter has run away to. Soon, Madame la Victoire, a fugitive hunter, appears at the plantation. She works for the crown and does not charge the Larcenet, as her services are funded by the state. She is assisted by her own sons. She interrogates Masamba, reminding him that other hunters simply kill fugitives, but she brings them back alive. He swears that he knows nothing. Then she orders her friend Mati to be beaten, and she quickly tells him about a place in the southwest where, according to legend, slaves find freedom. Madame Victoire sets off in pursuit, but she needs someone to recognize the fugitive. Larcenet Sr. offers to take Honoré. They take Mati's clothes for the dogs to pick up the scent and head into the forest. Reading the prints on the damp ground, the huntress realizes that Mati has met a man and continued her journey with him. The pursuers come to the foot of a mountain that towers over the area. They climb up to survey the surroundings and set up camp for the night. During dinner, Victoire reprimands Honoré for eating without prayer. Regarding the rights of slaves, she takes the same position as the church. They have no souls, which means they are nothing more than animals. Meanwhile, Masamba sits in a cage in a barn with a muzzle over his face. He begs the slaves who pass by to help him, but in vain. Only at night does his daughter's friend sneak into the barn to free the prisoner. Thanking her, Masamba goes on the run himself. Despite the fact that the guard dog is sleeping and does not raise the alarm, his disappearance is quickly noticed. In the morning, having broken away from the potential chase, Masamba tries to remove the mask that prevents him from eating and drinking normally. He hits the lock with a stone. Having got rid of the problem, the slave makes a homemade compass out of a few sticks and stones to determine where the southwest is. At night, he dreams of his wife. She insists that Masamba must submit to the will of the spirits with whom their ancestors made a treaty. In the morning, he continues on his way, unaware that hunters spotted him through a spyglass as he crossed the mountain. In the forest thicket, the fugitive meets another man with a machete. The man gestures to him to be quiet and leads him into the bushes, where a woman with a baby is hiding. As they lie in wait, they see Madame la Victoire's team scouring the forest for the fugitives. When the crying of the baby gives away their location, the slaves are forced to flee, leaving the woman and child in the hiding place. The men distract the pursuers, but come across one of the hunters who shoots Masamba's companion. Masamba himself attacks the man and almost kills him, but Honoré, the master's son, appears. He tells the slave to surrender, promising that he will take care of him. However, Honoré is mortally wounded by another slave. Realizing that he has nothing more to lose, he wants to take the life of Madame la Victoire's son, but humanity does not allow him to do so. He leaves him alive, taking only the boy's supplies. In the forest, Masamba comes across another slave dressed in a military uniform. He brings him to a cave where he has set up a shelter and tells him that he was once a French citizen and served in the army until people burned his documents. He then says that no one has yet managed to find free land in the southwest, so Masamba's daughter, like the other fugitives, will realize this sooner or later. In the morning, he tells her that a group of slaves is planning to steal fishing boats and escape to Madagascar. Deciding that Mati is among them, Masamba continues on his way. Meanwhile, Madame la Victoire is packing Honoré's body for transportation. Her son thinks about the moral dilemma. If the fugitive spared him, as a good Christian should he spare him in return? However, his mother convinces him that it was the Lord who spared him, not the slave. But the young man continues to doubt. When he tries to leave, his brother Joseph accuses him of cowardice and provokes a fight. However, the brother is defeated, and the young man leaves with Honoré's body. Madame la Victoire, together with her son, continues the hunt. When they come across a cave, they wound a uniformed slave hiding there, but without getting any information from him, they finish him off. After inspecting the cave, they find the fugitive's clothes, which they give to the dog to smell so that it can pick up the scent. The dog catches up with the fugitive when he crosses the river, and then both fall off the cliff of a waterfall. When the dog reaches the shore below, it attacks Masamba, biting him. In response, he takes the dog's life and hides in the thicket, going unnoticed by the hunters. They go down to find the traces of the fugitive in the night rain, including the bloody wounds of the dog. The next morning, Masamba goes to the ocean coast. On the sandy beach, he finds a broken boat and the bodies of the fugitives who tried to escape from the cursed island. He examines the dead bodies, fearing that he might find his own daughter among them. His attention is drawn to a noise from the coastal thickets, where 3 slaves are repairing a boat, hoping to escape. Masamba explains that he is looking for his daughter, and then one of them points to a coastal cave. There, among the close-knit fugitives, he finds his daughter Mati. He tells her that Madagascar is not the answer, and suggests that she finds her dreamed-for freedom in the southwest. Together they leave the beach. Soon, a huntress and her son appear there. They find traces of a shipwreck, including corpses. Madame Victoire orders the chase to continue, convinced that the fugitives are still on the island. Seeing the pursuers, the father and daughter hide in the bushes. The hunters, who stopped at a halt, hear suspicious sounds at night. Grabbing their guns, they take aim in the darkness, until Joseph runs out of patience. He shoots, but in return he gets a knife in the side from a sneaky fugitive. He bleeds to death in the arms of his mother, who, guided by mercy, stabs him in the heart to end his suffering. In a fit of anger, the woman sees the slave moving through the forest. Madame Victoire sneaks between the trees to get behind him and shoot him. She barely has time to start praying when she is stabbed by Masamba. Under the influence of adrenaline, Masamba sneaks into the house of Eugène Larsenet to kill the slave owner with a spear. In the morning, Mati brings her wounded father to life. She takes him to the forest, where he faints again. The next morning, a tribe of free slaves finds them. Learning that they are fugitives, the locals take the unconscious Masamba to a place where he can find freedom. Their village is hidden from prying eyes by mountains and forests, and it is almost impossible to find it without a guide. There, local shamans use folk medicine to treat Masamba's wounds. While her father recovers his strength, Mati explores the neighborhood. When Masamba recovers, the locals accept him into their ranks and allow him to stay. After that, Mati, satisfied, walks around the safe village, where people live freely, without having to do hard labor for the benefit of their master. However, this serenity did not last long. One night, the villagers were awakened by the panicked cries of the sentries. Detachments of French soldiers, dissatisfied with the natural decrease in labor, passed through the cave. The musketeers wreak real havoc, forcing everyone to flee. But no matter how fast you run, the bullet is still faster. Driven to a cliff, the soldiers trap them. The commander promises the prisoners that their lives will be spared if they surrender. After assessing the situation, they take each other's hands and jump into the abyss together. If you have watched the video so far, you should know that I am happy to have viewers like you. Thank you for watching to the end. Subscribe to the channel and follow the news. Klonsak Recapped was with you. See you soon.